So our purpose today is to continue describing our data or to continue answering the question, what is the level of life satisfaction of students with separated parents? So in our previous video, we have considered a frequency count and percent distribution to show how many of the respondents falls within satisfied, dissatisfied, extremely satisfied, and all other qualitative descriptions to describe level of life satisfaction. Now, what if our concern is also to show the individual the summary of the responses of the students or the respondents in each of the individual statements? So we are going to consider the individual statements. So we have here, let's go back again with our questionnaire just to show what are these questions. So these are the following. So in most ways, my life is close to my ideal until if I could live my life over, I would change almost nothing. So let's go back to our data set. If we are going to consider, for instance, the individual, so we have to, let's check what if we are going to consider the sum. So starting with letter E. So let's consider the sum. Let, let us encode equal sum, open parenthesis, and then select this, close, enter. And then we can just drag this until here. We expect for a very high number because of course this is 100 respondents. So going back to this, where is it? Going back to our questionnaire, so we cannot now use the scale given here like 5 to 9 is extremely satisfied, 10 to 14 dissatisfied until the last number is 35, 31 to 35 extremely dissatisfied. So how will we consider this? So we can actually convert this 395 into percent score. So to do that, we have to consider, of course, the perfect score, and the perfect score is 7 times the number of respondent. That is 7 times 100. So it is 700. So to get now what is the percent score of 395, so we just simply need to enter equal sign and then select 395 over, let us just type 700 times 100 or times 100%. So it is 56.42.43%, or if we round off to the nearest whole number, this is 56%. So let us consider all other data here. So let us just drag it. Okay, and then let's round to the nearest whole number. It's 56, it's 54, 52, and 49. So how will we interpret now these values by considering our percent score? Because these are already percent score. We can go back to our okay, we can go back to this. And then let's consider now the percent of 5 to 9, 15 to 19 out of 35, which is the total score. So to check for that, so I prepared here a table now showing that 5 to 9 corresponds to 14 to 26%. And then I considered editing some so that it will consider all the numbers. So for instance, that's 5 to 9. The total here is out of 35 because 7 times 5, there are 5 items, it's 35. So if we will get now the percent score of 35 of 5 to 9, so that's 5 divided by 35 times 100%. It is 14.28. While if we consider 9, then that is equal sign 9 divided by 35 times 100. It's 25.71. So going back here, the percent score here is from 14 to 26%. So that is what I did for all the numbers here, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20, until I reached 31 to 35. And of course, I also considered the last number here. So as much as possible, what I only considered right after dividing 9 all over 35 and 5 all over 35 to get 14 to 26% is to consider the upper limit. So for instance, here, so it's already 26. Obviously, the next number is 27. So I did not compute anymore for 10 all over 35. So what I considered is just to divide the upper limit, and the upper limit is 14 divided by 35 times 100. So it's 40%. And the next, 41%. So what are the upper limits? So we have 9, 14, 19, of 20, 25, 30, and 35. Let's consider our formula. So to make this easier to compute, I will just select this cell and again drag it down. Okay, so this is how I computed for 14 to 26, 27 to 40%. The next number is 54, so it's 41 to 54, 55 to 57, 71, so it's 58 to 71, 72 to 86, and 87 to 100%. So this is now my basis for me to determine what is the responses of our, or the general characteristics of the group in terms of per individual item. So for example, in number 1, so let's go to table number 2. And number 1, in most ways, my life is close to ideal. So the mean, so this is not the mean, it's actually the percent score. But because we divide it to the total, so it's the mean percent score. So the mean percent score for in most ways my life is close to ideal is 56. Number 2 is also 56. Number 3, 54. Number 4, 52. And the last one is 49. So how to determine what this means, so we can go back to our table. So 56, 56, 54, 52, 56 is within this range. So it is neither agree nor disagree. 54 is slightly disagree. 58 to 71. So we did not obtain that number. So we have 54, 52, and 49. So let's just consider that this means neutral, neutral, 54 is likely disagree. 52 is likely disagree. 49 also falls within SD. So let us consider the qualitative description. So 56 is neutral. Neutral. 54 is slightly dissatisfied. 54, 52, and 49 are all slightly satisfied. So this is now how to come up with our table 2. Or you can also present now the standard deviation. So for the meantime, let us remove that part. So let's just present the mean percent score and qualitative description of the level of life satisfaction. So you can interpret this by considering, for example, that the respondents have neutral side in terms of item number 1 and item number 2, and they slightly dissatisfied in items number 3, 4, and 5. So overall, so to consider now the overall life satisfaction, so let us drag this also until to the last one. It's 1,875. So the sum is 1,875. But it can actually get the average here and make use of the original scale. So it's 18.75. Going back again to our scale for interpretation, what is 18.75? 18.75 is slightly dissatisfied. So overall, the overall life satisfaction can be placed as part of the individual responses, or it can also be placed below the table for frequency count and percent. So to edit this, we will just consider, okay, so I'll remove this first. So let us edit our table. So it will only consider upper, this one. And we can place here min 18.75, which means that it is slightly dissatisfied. So majority, or rather most of the respondents, because it's below 50%, most of the respondents rated slightly dissatisfied. Or we can say here that as shown in table 1, most of the students with separated parents were slightly satisfied with their lives. And the average now is slightly dissatisfied. So we have here two tables, the table for frequency count and percent distribution, and the next one is the mean percent score and its qualitative description of the level of life satisfaction. So aside, you can also consider graphical presentation.